right, and moving to wide receivers on this, the True North Fantasy Pod. Lots to observe here among the wide receiver landscape. We've got Tyreek Hill in the 1 spot, Stephon Diggs in the 2. No surprises there. Tyreek is set to basically break records this year if he keeps it up, and Stephon Diggs is basically just getting his Stephon Diggs on as that elite option out in Buffalo. Put a tweet out this weekend that I don't think anybody ever gets open as much as Stephon Diggs. It's ridiculous how often you see him take a pass with no defenders in his vicinity. Pretty awesome to see. And then you actually watch him run those routes and it's just pure filth. We love us some Stephon Diggs over here. Much like we did at quarterback, we are going to make our first stop at the wide receiver 3. Looking great with Puka Nacua as the wide receiver 3. Cooper Kupp came back in week 5. Both of them were top 12 wide receivers on the week. Awesome. Pretty short target totem pole in LA right now too. Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua are going to see basically more than 50% of the team's targets each week. Kyren Williams, Tyler Higbee, Tutu Atwell are going to take basically the scraps that are left for him. I don't expect a ton out of any of those 3 options. Maybe Higbee because tight end is brutal, but that's about it. Tutu Atwell, I don't think you drop just yet, but I think he is very close to being dropped. They did just trade Van Jefferson to the Atlanta Falcons. So Tutu has been solidified as the wide receiver 3, but I don't think that's going to amount to a ton of fantasy upside with Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua taking all of those targets. And I think Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua both maintain huge upside in any given week. Most likely we're going to see one of them be a for sure top 12 every week option, with the other guy's floor being no lower than like top 20. But I think that could level out into like both being top 12 plays, maybe not top 5 plays in any given week, if that makes sense. Cooper Kupp is going to be the number 1. That pendulum has not shifted for the Los Angeles Rams. He's going to resume that red zone role that he's always had. Definitely brings higher touchdown upside than I think does Puka Nacua. But the main positive is that Puka's not going to fall off. That's the main thing, right? So we knew Cooper Kupp was going to be this. We didn't know if Puka Nacua was going to be able to maintain, but he can, and he did, and he will. Okay, we talked about Justin Fields. Let's talk a little bit more about DJ Mo Money. That's DJ Moore coming off a fat week 5 on Thursday. DJ Moore is currently the wide receiver 4 on the season, and I think what we saw earlier in the season is they just needed some time in game to start linking up on the regular a little bit more. And I think Justin Fields and DJ Moore are locked in as one of the best quarterback receiver duos in the league for the rest of the season, really. And I think the role for DJ Moore just screams fantasy production. He's not even near the elite wideouts as far as volume, but he is in efficiency. Still got the highest percentage of his team's receiving yards with over 46% of the Bears' receiving yards. He's 5th in the league in receiving yards. He's got the 6th best yards per route run, and he is number 1 in yards per target for all receivers who have 20 or more targets. So I think wheels up for DJ Moore. He is a wide receiver 1. Top 5 is in his realm of possibilities in any given week. We've seen Darnell Mooney not emerge as a target getter. Cole Kmet, definitely going to talk about him. But I don't think he's going to eat into any of DJ Moore's work because more than 83% of DJ Moore's routes are run from the outside. Whereas for Cole Kmet, he runs almost 85% of his routes as an inline tight end or from the slot. So I think that's really beneficial for really both of them continuing their fantasy production. DJ Moore especially. I think he's going to continue to fire at that top 5, top 10 clip. Bang, bang. Some more familiar faces: Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson, Keenan Allen, A.J. Brown, and Devontae Adams, all in that top 10. Justin Jefferson did go on IR this week. Another sad story. He's going to be gone for at least 4 weeks coming out of that week 5 matchup. Monitor that, adjust accordingly. But if you watched this show in the past, you'll know that I love me some KJ Osborne. Jordan Addison could see the breakout that we caught glimpses of in the first couple weeks too. So I would make those guys, if they're not already added in your league. I'm recording this on Wednesday, releasing on Thursday, so we missed waivers already. If you can get KJ Osborne or Jordan Addison though, go out and do so. Jordan Addison, I think, profiles probably as the alpha, with KJ continuing to be that number 2. But that number 2 spot in Minnesota has been fairly lucrative for the wide receiver. Just, well, lucrative as far as opportunities, right? There's been some red zone work. There's been some deep passing. Just hasn't been a ton of fantasy production coming out of it. And I think that's going to come, especially with this all-world target getter in Justin Jefferson vacating for a little while. that stuff's got to go somewhere. And I think Jordan Addison and KJ Osborne are going to be the beneficiaries, as well as a little bit of an uptick for TJ Hawkinson, I guess, too. Keenan Allen, he was on another planet before the bye week. Not going to spend too much time. He has been playing banged up so far this season and still producing at a top 5 clip. Mike Williams is hurt. Josh Palmer and Quentin Johnston have not emerged as solid number 2 options. So I think it's status quo for Keenan Allen as an every week elite option. Line them up. Okay, so for the biggest surprise within the top 12 of wideouts, we are going to Carolina, and what a Thielen. It beats believing. Adam Thielen is a top 12 wide receiver right now. I don't have huge confidence in him continuing at that top 12 pace, but I think if anyone's going to be that ultimate top 12 surprise, it's going to be Old Faithful, the old dog who doesn't learn new tricks, Adam Thielen. Looking at the ecosystem, none of these ancillary guys have been stepping up consistently. Terrace Marshall, love him, not doing it. DJ Chark, love him, not doing it. Jonathan Mingo, like him, not doing it. Thielen, on the other hand, top 5 in routes run, number 1 in slot targets through 5 weeks, which is awesome. So I think where the other guys are kind of those outside field stretching type of guys, Adam Thielen's role is extremely secure in this offense. And with a young quarterback, not the best running game, he's definitely a bit of a safety net for quarterback Bryce Young. Saw him heavily targeted when Andy Dalton was in there. Good signs, because you never know what's going to happen over the season. You're probably not pulling Bryce Young, but if he does miss any time, Andy Dalton's going to be able to keep Adam Thielen afloat. I think game script's going to be in his favor all year long too. This team's not going to be leading in games very often. They're going to have to throw the ball, and Adam Thielen has emerged as the clear-cut number 1 target in Carolina, averaging 11 targets per game over the last 4. And I'd say Thielen, he's probably a set-and-forget wide receiver 2 on fantasy rosters with that top 12 upside that he could present. Either way, though, one of the best offseason values after being drafted well into the double-digit rounds. Adam Thielen, little cherry on top for fantasy rosters. Well played drafting him, and you're just reaping those benefits now. Couple other surprises too, though. Nico Collins, Hollywood Brown, rounding out that top 12. Do want to say, go back to the audio platforms, check it out. We've got a couple of short videos on the socials as well. Ty did an audio recording of a full breakdown of the Arizona Cardinals, and Hollywood Brown is a big piece of that. So please go check it out. It's not on the YouTube channel, but it's on Spotify, Google Pods, Apple Pods, wherever you listen to your pods. Go check it out, because Ty did a money job breaking down the Cardinals. So I'm not going to go too deep. Aside from you keep riding Hollywood Brown and Nico Collins. Hollywood on pace for career highs in targets, yards, touchdowns. So you start him every week as a wide receiver 2. Mega week winning upside with Hollywood Brown. We know that. And then with Nico Collins, we're seeing flashes of a true alpha breakout, really. The only thing that's hampered that has been the weeks 3 and week 5 dud games where he saw only 7 targets total. But he's outside the top 20 in targets right now. Obviously not great, but the beauty is that he's inside the top 10 in yards and yards per route run, and he's second only to DJ Mo Money in yards after the catch per reception, which is something I didn't really think was in Nico Collins' profile. So he's showing us more than I thought he had coming in, and I think we're going to see solid fantasy production over the rest of the season. I do think that the presence and progression of Tank Dell might make a top 12 finish difficult for Nico Collins, but I think he's locked into that top 15 or so rest of the season. Got to start him every single week and just eat any of the down games that he might have, because the up games have been really good so far. A couple other little wideout notes. Just keep true on Garret Wilson and Chris Olave. They are the wide receiver 26 and 28 respectively. Both uber talented young players, should bounce back to a degree from what we've seen so far, both in questionable situations, let's say, but both also have week winning upside in any given matchup. So still starting them as that wide receiver 2-3. Don't absolutely love it, but there are better days ahead. So stay the course.